The waiting is up. Alright guys, welcome back. This is Dirk the Red Panda, and right now I have a blank screen above me because I did not open up Clip Studio Paint yet. Now I did. And now to create a new file. So, what's going on? I am finishing my CGs for the first update of Ocean Avenue. There will be 4 CGs, and this is going to be the 4th. So you guys will get to join me as I start drawing it. No way I'll be able to finish it on stream because usually it takes me like 8 to 12 hours to do these CGs, like multiple characters, drawing them, perspectives for the sketching, lining, coloring, some shading a little bit because I'm not much of a shader, etc., etc. So yeah, let me get back to my OBS and open up Clip Studio Paint on there. VN making? Yeah, I'm just gonna go with VN making, screw it. There we go, that's the file. This is going to be made into a beautiful image. Alright, so if you guys haven't been keeping up with me for the past 2 weeks, I'd say I've been doing this. I've been basically on a VN hiatus where since none of my routine novels have been updated, I've taken that time to keep working on my novel and basically get all the big long-term stuff done so that by the time I release the first update, I don't have to like go back and draw a huge CG for the first update and re-update the first update. So trying to get it all packaged in a nice little bow. And so, yes, if you come to my channel, this is normally not what I do. But, sorry, I have to rub my nose. It's kind of cool out. There's a lot of smoke out because this is California and fires are going crazy. But, yeah, this is not routine for me, and I wanted to just show you guys kind of what I do, just to give you guys a little sneak peek, get your guys' interest in the game. So with my magical batteryless stylus, which comes with this tablet, it's a special tablet that doesn't need batteries. Yeah, I'm not gonna advertise or like be a sponsor for it right now unless they actually sponsored me. But yeah, so I'm gonna start drawing, and if anybody wants to send me memes, this is what the window down here. I'm gonna just this thing. That's what this window down here is for. Like, I'm gonna put it to the. Oh no, I put it in the wrong folder. There we go. This window is for if anybody wants to send me memes this week because I once again did not choose any memes of the week. If you left any in Discord, just like at me on Twitter with hashtag Dirk Meme Review. Just like link me to the video or the tweet. I have YouTube and Twitter open just so I can get that, and I'll get to it when I have a little break in the drawing. Yes, I'll definitely stay safe during these fires because they're crazy. Luckily, none have come too close to where I live, but last year, if anybody remembers, no, 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, man, I had to evacuate, and if anybody remembers, that's when I did my lunar episode. I remember that because I only did one because that was the trial version of it. And I was in my relative's house at the time because I had to drive all the way down there with my family, and we stayed there for a weekend and just chilled down there basically and let the fires rage on. Luckily, our house didn't get affected, so there was good in that. All right, so time to start. First off, I'm going to do lay perspective with my terrible straight line skills. So what I do here is basically a box. I probably should just do a rectangle tool, but sometimes you kind of want to have a little human edge to it. You don't want it to be super, super straight, otherwise it looks too robotic. Plus, if it's something natural like in beach volleyball, you have to set up the lines on the sand. They're not painted in. Then with this, then it's like you kind of want to have the natural waviness a little bit to it. Because lines can't be perfect all the time. Let me tell you that. Have stories about that. So, yeah, I'm gonna estimate where the middle is. Luckily, beach volleyball, they don't have like any official middle lines, so this is just for reference for where to put the net. And just a reminder, feel free to send me memes even if I'm not done with like a certain checkpoint or whatever. Like, just leave them in there and I'll get to them once I hit like a certain mark, like finishing a character or finishing the net, or you know what I mean, guys. That's about close enough. And at this point, this is a bird's eye view of it, and I'm gonna call this the perspective layer. I should mention these are also kind of like little tutorials in a sense of how to draw, in a sense, or how to draw for a VN. It's my free masterclass. So here we go. I am going to draw circles. Like, the thing with the circles too is this is 10 meters. Jesus, that's a terrible line. 10 meters. No, not 9 meters. 8? 9? 8? It's about this. I'm trying to think what beach volleyball courts lengths are. Let me Google it right now. Beach volleyball lines. Dimensions. Let me see if they mention this in meters. No. Oh, it is. There it is. Where is it? Thanks, well photoshopped image. Beach volleyball court dimensions are 8 by 16 meters. So, if I can recall, 8 meters is about like 24-ish feet. And so, because of that, no, not 24, about 26 feet. Jesus. Anyway, the point that I was coming at with that is basically what I'm going to want to do is, since this is going to be about... Jesus. Jesus Cristo. Since this is going to be about 26 feet, you only want your line to be like, oh so long, like if your character is like about... Think about like their shoulder width or whatever, like they're going to be maybe 4 or 5 feet. They're only going to be like, what, a sixth of this entire length. So when you draw kind of like a circle or a cross or whatever you want for where your character location is, you want to make sure to keep in mind, like, you don't want to draw like a giant circle for reference and then get completely thrown off with the size of it. So this is why I do a bird's eye view, is that this gives me a perfectly accurate representation of how long or how wide I want to make the character when I change the perspective. This is super important for characters that are like much taller or much shorter, or just to make sure your characters aren't all just like whack perspectives, like a character that's 5 feet is the same height as one that's 7 feet. So I'm gonna just draw him here, I'd say. So actually, yeah, that's close enough. Normally I would draw circles for this, but I don't know, I've been getting into a cross phase lately. Edgy boy phase. I've been drawing crosses, or just plus signs for you math nerds out there like me. That's close enough. I could draw it later once I realign the perspectives, but that's why you try and make it as simple of a shape as possible. One, you don't have to perfect like a circle. Circles are hard for artists. Don't get it twisted. So I got the circle here, and then I got... This is going to be M for Marcus. And then here I got... maybe a little bit further back. So maybe the line's going to be a tad shorter. Not too much shorter. There we go. That's why I do this for reference. You can always get like a ruler out and try and be perfect about this, but you know, I kind of just try and guesstimate it a little bit. Like you don't have to be perfect if you're, you know, doing a CG like this and just doing it unless it's like a very straight on perspective. Like if you have like a complex perspective, it's okay to do a little bit of laziness. At least in my opinion. I bet better artists will tell you not to be like me with that. um, Jesus Christ, that is a terrible circle. Okay. E for our main character, Evan. Normally I write their full names, but yeah, I'm lazy. Okay. I'm just gonna save this so I don't lose this file. Don't want to lose this super important file. Oh, I'm gonna just get this out of the way. We don't need that anymore. All right, so got something goodbye. Hold on. Okay, now I'm gonna draw the other two perspective or other two characters in line, and then get back to checking the chat. So, character setting. Then we got our bigger character. So, I'm using Marcus as a reference, like reference, whatever it's called. Height reference, boundary, whatever. Perspective. So, this is going to be Vic, our taller character, so slightly bigger cross. For bigger sins. Yeah, that's close enough. Once again, you can always change things like this on the sketch, like once the perspective changes and you're like, ah, that looks ugly. There we go, there's our boy Vic right on the net. And then our only female character so far, Selma, is going to be somewhere behind him. Note, don't call women females. It's very degrading. Yeah, he's gonna cover angle. I'm doing my beach volleyball advice to myself, like, okay, he's gonna go for this coverage. Okay, so B for Vic. Last but not least, Evan and Selma are about the same height. They're like 1 inch difference. So like the perspective thing, it's like it's not gonna be that big of a difference if they're like very close, just like minute differences in height. I think she's actually an inch taller than Evan. That or she's an inch shorter. One of them's 5'9", the other's 5'10". I have canon references for the height. That and one of the characters mentions their heights. Guess who? Me being the sucker for height had to bring it up. So here we go. Should she take sharp or deep angle? Tough decisions for our girl Selma. Vic's taking angle, actually. I gotta move Vic to the line now. I want to get all the characters in the image. Like, I want to make sure that none of them are like completely blocked off by another character because they're standing behind them. Gotta expose all my characters. Alright, so Vic's got line. Alright, so that's our perspective for our characters. I'm probably just going to leave these 4. Kenny, who is the other of our 5 main cast, per se, is not going to be in the photo for now because he is resting for this game. He is sitting out, and yeah. So I'm just going to quickly check our Twitch to see if anybody referenced any memes. Or I can always reload my Twitter feed. Let's see, any latest Dirk meme reviews? Nope. Nobody is reviewing. Alright. My poll to see if I should do this stream just ended, so once again, I'm going to research Dirk meme review. Nope. Alright. Here we go. We're going to do this with the magic of the perspective tool. Actually, no, never mind. I need to do something first. Apologies. So the poll's gonna be about 2 feet. 2 feet. I have to make the poles first. One of the most important things. Poll is gonna be circular, actually, so I'm just using the lines for guidance, for advice, counselor's advice. Okay. Okay. Actually, no. The shapes are fine. I just need to move them back a little bit. This is the boring part. I'll get to the exciting sketching part in a bit once I get the perspective down. And sketching, boy oh boy, when you're doing like special perspective CG shots, they can be nightmares. Like people think, oh, line art is the hardest part. Wait till you get to doing a CG from a unique perspective, like an action shot. Oh god, those are so hard. So that's kind of how far I want the poles to be. And then, of course, the lines are like that. So now we're going to go into the magical perspective tool. So zoom out for this. May have to zoom out more, but for now, we just have perspective. So okay, I'm thinking about how I want to do this. Maybe I want Marcus a tad closer. Yeah, I'm going to make Marcus a tad closer. If Clip Studio Paint will load, damn it. I should not use my hands for this. I should use my stylus. That's strange. I think I have a little problem going on. I think sometimes that happens as a result of just an overload of everything happening. Like sometimes I just have to quit and reopen the program. So I'm just gonna quickly do that. So that or just close the file. Okay, let's double check this again. Nope, same problem. I do not know why. It might just be a quitting and reopening problem because right now my computer's probably getting overloaded with all the programs open. So do not save any changes I made. Don't worry, this will just take me a sec. I also have to constantly remember that this is volleyball, not tennis. Somebody said, aren't they the same sport to me the other day? And I just, they're doing it as a joke. I was like, oh no, oh no. No, they are not. Okay, maybe it's not a problem with the... I didn't lock the layer. That's a strange part. Oh, my brain's dumb. I have dumb brain. I click the move layer thing here. Sometimes switches by accident, and it asks to move the grid for some reason, and I don't have a grid. There we go. Everything is solved. Everything is happy. Everything's a goodbye. Okay, I want to move Marcus about here, using the power of the arrow keys And Evan, I want to move you towards the net. There we go, much better. We all live happily ever after. Alright, so time for some magical perspective work. So you could definitely go zoom out because when you do it from a bird's eye view, everything looks super tall. But once you get back down, like towards the ground, everything shrinks. So here we go, perspective. Now you're starting to see the square look more like a trapezoid. What are shapes? I'm a math major. Oh dear God. Alright, so you're gonna go down, you're going downtown. Okay, so I might want to shrink this a tad, but this is kind of the gist of what you want. You want it more like ground based, where it's like, okay, you could see everybody, but in a way where it's like they're not like super uncanny in the shape they are. Okay, we're gonna go down. Okay, I just want to keep this a little. Oh, jeez, what just happened? Maybe if I zoom in. Yeah, sometimes the lines be weird when you're at a far distance, so that'd just be Photoshop. Or, Jesus, Photoshop. Clip Studio Paint. Crap. Let me know if I fly off the screen by accident because I'm leaning too much. Yeah, it's like watching a spout grow in real time. Seriously, that's what I love about like joining art streams from time to time. It's just fun to see the process. But I don't want to be a drama queen, but somebody that I get a bit intimidated by, and just this is more me just being kind of just intimidated as an artist and more of a personal thing, is just if anybody watches Zillion Ross's like lightning round streams, those scare the crap out of me, being like an artist that takes his dandy old time to do things. Like seeing him be like, okay, I'm gonna do this in 2 minutes, and it's like, oh God. Like, how do you do all that in 2 minutes? I'm not the person to like speed rush or like do a speed challenge with any of my art. So that's probably why I'm not so comfortable doing things in a rushed or a timed manner, I'd say. But at the same time, it does just look scary for beginner artists because it feels like, oh, I want to be this quick. I want to be this quick. It's good in that you get to be bold and try and like practice your efficiency, but at the same time, it just really makes you feel like you draw something and it's unfinished within that certain time initially. Like that's the worst feeling. You time yourself and you're like, I only got this much done. But yeah, what I like to do is just time myself in general, like just have a timer in my head, but not like say, oh, I have to get this done in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever minutes or hours. I just think, okay, this project took me this many hours to do, just so I can allocate time better. All right, so I think I might not change this perspective anymore. I'm just thinking, man. It's just like, it's one of those like tough decisions of, do I want to keep going? I'm just gonna leave it like this for now. Here we go. Now the loading begins. Load, 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 load. Okay. And now to move things back. Okay. Now we go on to the actual sketching of characters. Or, well, maybe I should do the net first, but one step at a time. Okay, the net's gonna be like about here. Don't worry, this is gonna take me like 2 seconds just to draw a net. And then just like adjust it if I need to. So net. And then roughly the bottom is just gonna be about like this. Okay. Alright, so now from here I can adjust depending on how I think the lower ends of the poles are gonna look. So I'd lower this. Okay, I'm gonna scrunch the net a little bit because the bottom bar looks a bit tall. Okay. Now to draw a top to it. I'm amazed that people watch me stream at this point anymore. Like 3 weeks of just me drawing mundane like stuffs. I'm just referencing my first CG quickly. Sneak peek. Now it's gone. Now you can't see it anymore. Alright, so I just wanted to make sure that the net wasn't like too low or too high. Plus, since this perspective is like from behind the back line, you want the net to look a little smaller, more distant. So that's about good. Close enough. All right, now we'll get to the exciting part, character sketching. So, first character I'm going to do is furthest back, Marcus. So, instead of drawing him like right here or whatever, here, I'm going to draw him here, like just anywhere else that I can just get a general bigger perspective and just hide everything else and just draw Marcus normally. Like, I will reference that from time to time, but just I'll maybe be like, okay, he's looking like this or whatever, and then just hide it. But actually, no, he's gonna look more like that. But you get the point. Like, I'm not gonna like draw him on the exact perspective position because then I'll use the perspective tool to draw him or to reshape him there. Otherwise, it's like way too tricky to like get that exact perspective, especially if you're somebody that's like, if it's a tricky perspective. We made perspective tool for a reason. Yes, it is not every day you could see VNs being created. And oh shit, Lucian's here. We all gotta run away from him. He's pogging out. I don't think that's the first pog on this channel, unfortunately. Okay. Sorry, I'm like thinking of how he's gonna be moving. Because one character is gonna be setting him, like Evan's gonna be setting him, and he's kind of gonna be like leaning in, like leaning the shoulders a little bit, but not too much. So he's gonna have a mostly straight on perspective. So he's gonna be like, eh. Make sure I don't give him too broad of shoulders. That's more of Vic's character, the big boy character. So I'm giving him about the average two heads widths for the shoulder to shoulder. And I'm just double checking because he's not too broad of a shoulder, but he's kind of a medium. I have one character, Kenny, who is like scrunched, skinny shoulders, like skinny, tall person, but you know, that's a lot of volleyball players I've met in the past. But then we got Vic, who's like just broad, like he's like a linebacker, I'd say, in terms of like body perspective. Yeah, and then you got the more normal body shapes like Evan and Selma, where they're like me, I'd say, just normal slim person shoulders, like not like more on the narrow side, but not too narrow. But yeah, Marcus is more of a middle ground between that. So here we go. I feel like talking and explaining helps me like not get like losing. Well, it helps me not lose motivation. Jesus, if I can speak, but yeah. So you kind of want the shoulders to lean a little. He's gonna be kind of leaning into this, like so. You want to have some foreshortening. So I'm going to deselect. Put this one in a tad. I'll try not to go this slow for the rest of the time, but this is just for me to help me understand what I'm doing. Because sometimes you're like, what the hell am I doing with this drawing or this perspective? Especially on a tricky one. So here we go. So for the torso, I like doing a method. I don't know what it's called, but there's somebody that was drawing it the other day, and I like to call it like the heart shape or the spade, in that you get to a certain point here. Like, luckily, since we are flat on, we could do a pure spade as opposed to like adding width or whatever to the like shoulder or whatever. So what I do is from like about the neck point, like the part between the neck here and like where the where this part all connects here. I do not know anatomy as well as some people. Uh, Basically, you want to make like kind of a outward shape to like the corner here. Yeah, you try your best. Like right now, I'm just kind of overemphasizing a little bit. This may be a bit too bulky, but you know, things happen. So then you slant it in a little bit, like kind of like depending on how like wide your character is or like what perspective they're from, the more sideways they look, like the more like they are maybe looking from the side, the more you want that like uh spade to be more arched at the top. And so it'd be more like that, and then you'd have more curve at the bottom here. Just an estimate, but it'd curve more so here, and then go into a higher slant at the top. But back to what I'm doing here. So you slant in. This is what you do for a just straight on perspective, at least from what I remember from the tweet. I forgot who tweeted it, but I've liked and like retweeted so many of those people who've done that. But thanks to whoever did this method. So then from the top, you will basically kind of connect it. Like you get to a certain point, and once you are about at the second line here, this is more so of a line that cuts off the rib as opposed to where the chest should be. I used to do an 8 heads reference for the lines, but now I'm doing more so of a shoulder part where the rib starts to concave in, and then waistline. So those are my 3 golden lines, and they're about a head tall each. But I give a little bit longer of a length to them, especially when the character's head is like a tad smaller than this circle here, which based on some heads and animals, you kind of have to. So anyway, I did this. So you do more of a outer part of the spade. It looks like a lung. You do that, you hit this part here, and then that's when you kind of concave it back a lot more towards here. So for a straight on perspective, it's going to be a little more outward, I'd say, like towards your line here. If it's more of a side perspective, this line here would be like more slanted or something like that. So then things would kind of come in a little more. So, you know, free art advice. You want some art advice, kid? Okay, so now I'm gonna do the other side. So similar method, just the other side is a bit more arced, I would say, like because it's going more outward and then it gets foreshortened. This character is kind of twisting his body in, but only like the upper body here with the ribs, so I'm going to just readjust last minute. And when you're on the outer one like this, you don't slant in as much. Since you get some foreshortening going and it's a straight on, the foreshortening from the outer part in, like the part that's facing outwards. If it's like this part that's foreshortened, or well, if it's this part, it doesn't get foreshortened as much because it's being more revealed. This is not being revealed as much. Nah, this part is not being revealed as much. So you turn that in. Then you look at the spine for this one. The one that's more cut off is going to have a reference to the spine, the back. That's what this center line is. My spine line. And bam, you got yourself a upper part of the torso where the ribs are and the diaphragm. And then from here, you kind of just, for me, I don't have much of a method to the madness here for the stomach. You kind of just do this. You kind of slope in and out. A lot of people will have like a little chub around here unless they're like really, really skinny, and you can emphasize that less. But on the part that's more revealed, like the part that's more twisted out and showing here, you want to have it come in more to where this dot meets, where the two lines hit. And then you kind of do this here. You want it kind of going in towards the center of the body. And now for the other side, you kind of want to go a little bit off from there, a little bit on the outside, because it's foreshortened and you kind of see the gut more emphasized. Marcus kind of has a gut, I'd say, like the character. If I can show a reference of him, let me just pull that up after I finish this. Here we go. Okay, so Marcus. Go into my sprite files. All right, so this is the character Marcus. So he's got more of a broad, but not more of a medium to small broadness. Not too broad, but not narrow by any means. He, once I take his shirt off, has kind of a gut. You don't see it as much, and the black kind of makes him look a bit skinnier, the back black part of his fur. But if you zoom in, you kind of see it chubs out a little. And then on the part that he reveals his side more, you're going to slant in a little more and chub it out. So, sorry about that. That is how you're going to do the perspective there. So I'm going to want to do that here. So you always have a little more emphasis on the side that's showing in terms of like length of it. You get slightly more of a feminine Jurassic slant. Like with like women characters or female characters, you could use it like that. Just don't call them that as a noun. But with more of like your female characters, you kind of have more of a slant out. Like once you hit the stomach, it will go out like that because like they have wider hips, and narrow shoulders just in general. But yeah, I try my best here to give a bit more emphasis. This is not going too well, but you try. So, and on this side, you kind of have the emphasis, but not so much outward as much more of a just kind of subtlety, I'd say. Like it's not so like that unless they're like really, really chubby or something, but you don't give as much like you don't give as much width on the other side. So anyway, now that we got this done, now we got the stomach done. And once I finish this first character, I'll probably talk less about all this, so just giving a little details to get myself warmed up. It does look like a T-pose, man, honestly. Like, that's what a lot of drawings start out as. Oh, the stupid T-pose people. Oh, don't say that about your stick figures. It's, it takes practice. So I'm gonna look at Marcus's perspective. He's about here. So he's just gonna be like standing, waiting for the ball. Like, okay, his arm's gonna be kind of back a little bit, not too much, but just back enough so that they're not here. This is normally where you want your elbows to be if they're like straight down like that. But since he's gonna be more so arms back, I should make them more outward actually. Back. So normally from down here, shrink perspective. And then you do this. Alright, so the hands are going to be kind of around my stomach, so that's about where I want it. There you go. So it goes from shrinking down here to enlarging out here. So that's what I want for the arm. I'm going to try and do that for the other arm too. But since it's more on the outer side here, it's not going to be as far outward. It would have been more hidden if he was more turned. Actually, it's going to be a bit more straight for the forearm. There we go. And from that perspective, you're going to have your fingers more so shooting out towards the camera. So you're going to kind of want kind of a thinner, like this for the hand. I like having hand references just initially so I can know how, like, you know, how to position other things in the image. Can't really explain right now as I draw it. So this, yeah, this helps me finish the full arm. So then it goes more. I'm trying to think about this. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna be more upward because yeah, it's gonna be this. So there we go. The hands are gonna be more up here. Or the fingers, I mean, whatever they're called. Fingers right here. Ah, shoot, I'm trying to give him 4 fingers. It's a bit tough with what I did. At least the thumb is the easiest part. It's like just up and ready to go. Locked and loaded. I shouldn't be going into this much detail for the hands right now, but okay, I'm gonna have to erase a ton of crud around there just to give it more of an actual perspective. Because otherwise it just looks like a bunch of scribbles. You can just scribble anything and make it art. Alright, here we go. That's okay. Shoot. Okay, I should shrink. What the frick? Okay, that's good enough. Just gonna. One more. Alright, so we got something down here at least. We got a hand. And I'll probably just copy and paste this for the other side. Maybe try it originally if I feel like it. Alright, so here we go. That is Marcus's right hand. Give more of the upper. Jeez, what am I doing? Trying to give more of the upper hand here. Some sort of cutoff, just so we can. Just for perspective's sake. Oh god. It is a bunch of shapes. They look like boobs. Of course. Yeah, it always was shapes. Okay, I'm gonna make the thumb shorter. This is the part where my OCD kills me. Like, I need people holding me accountable saying, Dirk, please stop taking a billion years on this one part just because it looks a bit strange to you or whatever. You know, just actually get through it quicker or something. Like, don't lollygag on it. So, okay. That's kind of what I'm going to get to for the. There we go. Just going to draw the pause and just to have that for reference. Just trying to remember how the perspective of the paws are going to be. Okay, so it's going to be more so the nails on the outside. Here we go. All right, that's pretty close enough. And now to move on to the shoulder. I'm gonna draw the legs in a bit. Actually, no, I'm gonna stick figure them in first, just to have them. Then we're gonna, continue finessing the details. So, okay, so actually, I'm gonna move this a bit. Try and turn it a little bit because the right leg. No, left. Right, left. So I'm trying to think of how a right person hits the ball because I'm lefty. Yeah, the left foot would be in front. If that's the case, right, left. Okay, yeah, he's gonna have his right foot in front. Yeah. So I just have to think about how this character is gonna, take a three-step approach. Volleyball stuff, man. Stuff tricky and complicated. Jesus. Oh boy. All right, so I make the quad part, the femur part, about this tall, like from here to here. That's my estimate of things. So that's how I draw a leg. And I can foreshorten it since it's a little bit, just because it's a digitigrade leg. Like, I can't pronounce it. Like, it's a digitigrade leg. So, you know, it's going to be more outward protruding. So we do that. We go back. All right. And now this one's going to be more shortened because it's going back, actually. So once again, it's going to be kind of like that shape in a sense, like where one's in front, the other is a bit more behind. And since it's even more foreshortened back here, this is going to be even shorter. But don't worry. Now we have the heats. Pause here. Bam. There we go. And that's kind of our stick figure reference for the feet. So I'm going to go back to those after I get the arms done. I just want to get the legs out of the way. I wanted to get what was on the menu done. Okay. Okay, just a little bit of leg. Leg. Okay, definitely need to make the legs longer. I completely underestimated the length of my legs. Okay, just gonna adjust that quickly. So once again, head reference 7. I think the problem is my quads are not long enough. Like what I mentioned, like, oh, you should only be like this long, like, you know, from top to bottom there. I think I make it a tad longer than that, I'd say. Let me just double check. So I do this, I do the shrinking. Okay, so this is going to be about as long as, like, typically you want to go from like leg 3 to 6, I'd say. So it's only 2 legs long. That's the problem. I'd say you want to make it about 2.5 heads long, and this is only 2 heads long, and that's my problem. So okay, gotta make it like half a head longer. Actually, maybe not a full half head, maybe like about a third of a head longer. Okay. Like that. That's about good enough. There we go. Like I said, I spend way too much time on menial things, and that's my downfall. And that will be the end of me. Okay, yeah, the legs are too long. Okay. Ignore what I said about it. 2 heads is about fine. Especially when they're kind of in the crouch position. Or maybe not. Sorry, I'm like backtracking for a sec. This is the problem of when you go out of order. Things kind of, you have to like change everything up the last minute. So I'm drawing the stomach right now. Just, this is a part of the crotch area. Like that's kind of the goal of like, I'm doing this in relevance to how big are the legs gonna look. Just gonna rough sketch that. Yeah. That's about fine. Yeah, I'd say about 2 1/3 heads, or from like here are the shoulders to like the end of the waist, I would say. Like that. So that's what I'm gonna do. So here we go. All right, time to continue. Okay, I said I was gonna go back to the arms, but at this point I'm on a leg streak, and I think doing arms last is a better move in general. So, because then you start doing this crotch area here, and you just finish that up. So, for the legs, we are going to start with quads. Quads are always the most important to me in that they are the most defining feature of a front perspective for legs. So, you want the curve to come in like this, and then back out. Enough so that it forms the kneecap. You typically want your you typically want your quad to help form the kneecap. So you got that. And then you got this part out here. Well, bam. That's the side part. And then we got the hamstring, I think this is. This is the hamstring. Should have drawn the rest of the butt for reference, but this is kind of what I start with. So this is a bit big. I might shrink the legs a tad. Otherwise, they look like protogen legs. They look like dummy thick leg. So just gonna draw that other side quad thing just to help finish it out on a straight edge. So this is what we get for the right leg, the one that's in front. Now to go the other leg that's behind it. This one we're going to edge in a little more because it is foreshortening. It's hiding away. So I'm trying to think about this. So it goes up. And you kind of want to make sure it's not the exact same size as your bigger leg, especially when it gets to the shorter end. Like when it's up here, maybe that's fine, but once you get to the back of the leg, it's like, or the bottom of the leg, foreleg here, you want to get that shortened. Here we go. Now to do this, the other quad. So forgot the kneecap. When it comes to a knee that's more sideways facing, you kind of want to brush it out like this. And then use the foreshortening to your advantage to edge it in. And then connect with the quad. Should be about done. This side part here helps finish off the leg. Like it separates the mid-range of the kneecap to the bottom part where the calf goes. So I should probably adjust this other side as a result. Always remember to save. And forgot to draw the hamstring on the other side, so hamstring it is. Now we got legs, kinda. I think legs are very important when you have a character like a anthropomorphic or human character, just because it's like that's one of the big things about how they're posed or positioned. Unless they're like laying forward or something, like 90% of like drawings you're gonna have, like maybe 99% of drawings you're gonna have like legs be a very defining factor of how their body's gonna twist. Like since we are bipedal creatures, we really do depend on our legs for movement and stuff. Now I'm going to say 95 because maybe if you're doing a pull up or whatever. Enjoy the jog. All right, so. Damn, now I can't unsee that. Boobs. They do look like boobs now. Yeah, I'm a lefty. It's crazy. So, now the calf. So you kind of want to start it about here because the hamstring kind of separates and borders the calf. So you kind of want to start it around here with the side thing. I forget what that's called, but it's a muscle. It's a muscle that goes on the side. So bring that in. And since this is outward facing as opposed to straight on, this is going to be a smaller, less defined calf. It's not going to fully go out, but it's going to look more like a shin, I would say. You could try and do this, but I'd recommend against it just because then it looks too muscly, I would say. Like, unless it's like super, super jacked, like legs or whatever, I would try and not go too outward with the outer calf. Although it does drop in later like that, like forearms do. You will notice with like forearms and like upper arms and like upper legs and lower legs, like they have a lot of similar anatomy with each other, which will really help you in case you have any confusion with how do I draw my forearm, how do I draw my calf, or whatever. It really is amazing how it's like we have a lot of like similar symmetry with that in the human body. And now the legs, or the legs, the feet. Okay, these feet are definitely too big. I'm gonna just a little bit. Up we go. I could actually shrink that a little bit. Okay. Okay. Perfect. So now here you kind of have a initial heart, and then you kind of turn it here. So kind of have that type of California looking shape to it. Since I'm from California, that's what I think of when I draw this part of the foot. If you have a part that is the top part of the foot, and then the part that bends in with the whatever this part is where your toes are, the front part of your foot. But yeah, you have a part that kind of helps bend it in. So you kind of want to do something similar to that on this side. But the difference here is that since it's the more revealed side of the foot, you want to show more of the whatever this part is. Ah, God, I can't name it. So you do that. Got yourselves a foot. like a digitigrade foot, if I can ever pronounce it. Next up, dim toes. Dim peats. Dim. There we go. Oh god, the camera's starting to shake. Or not the camera, the drawing tablet screen is shaking. That's probably because it's low quality. It's not the highest quality thing, but it does its job. It was the cheapest one that had a screen, and it does its job. I like it for what it is. Someday I'll probably upgrade, but, you know, for now it's like, it's good. It does what it needs to. Alright, other leg. Jesus Christ, I need to erase this part. This part's like really throwing me off. So now, other side. Now this is more straight on, so you can do both sides like about the same. Just note with the outer part, it is like the forearm in that the outer part juts out later, like lower in the arm. This part juts out higher. So, here we go. Higher jut out. Or higher jut out, lower jut out. So, here we go. Time for the feet. Now I'm going to start going into fast mode. In this part, since they are more straight on, you're not going to have really a side that's more revealed or not, so they're both going to be about the same in terms of how the leg like shows things. Like, you're not going to have a pop pad here. Ah, crap. Should make it a little less sketchy. Okay, that part is a bit too long. Okay, just gonna shorten it. There we go. And now to just draw these straight on. Typically, you want your tip of the claw to be about where this part juts back. So, there we go. And I'm going to erase some of the unnecessary lines, the lines that will throw you off. You don't have to erase them all. It's just for you guys, and just for me, it sometimes will kind of throw a wrench in how I look at the character. There we go. And then I can just draw dick and balls. Not really. I'm just going to draw like a general bulge just because he's wearing clothes. You don't have to go into detail, you pervs. This is why it's 18 plus. I draw the dick and balls. Well, I draw the bulge. I had kind of a rough experience with learning how to draw the bulge. Really rough in that the person I worked for was like super like OCD about the bulges, and for me being OCD myself, it was like worse to have somebody else that was like even more nuts about it and being like, no, make it bigger, make it like this shape, make it this way. And I had to really spend time like perfecting like different types of bulges, like the V, the U, the I think the O is like impossible, but that's like more of a if you have a knot. Yeah, so the person kept saying the bulges I made looked like softballs, and that was that was kind of a bummer. Okay, I'm gonna make this a little bigger. Okay. A tad wider. And a tad taller. Yeah, 115 is good. Let me select okay. I'm going to start talking less and less once I get into more of a stride, but for now, it's just getting the first character done is always like the hardest part. It's like always the warm-up stage. Ah, crap. Okay, forgot with this side, it's going to be more arced like I said earlier. So, yeah, normally it'd be more spade-like if it was very straight on, but since the guy is turning his ribs, or he's turning his own ribs, since he's turning this upper part here, this would be more of an arch. You can see the old line here. So, yeah. This is to make sure that the shoulders connect. And when they come back in, you're still going to have a little bit of an intersection here, but at least it keeps them connected. Otherwise, you would have like hardly any connection. It would look kind of uncanny, I'd say. So, now we draw the forearm. This is not the forearm. I can't speak. Just thinking about how the character is doing his arms. Okay, they're going to be more straight on. I might make this character's head a bit smaller to fit the body because it looks a bit giant in comparison. Shoot. I think I know what the problem is. There we go. Make it even more outward. This character has slightly defined biceps or slightly bigger biceps, but it's not like too big like Vic's, so just gotta make sure I have the right size. And then you kind of got this part here for the side, like the legs, if you remember. So this part's then gonna go into the chest, which when I do arms and chest, I typically do them together in my layers, just because they make a lot more intersections and whatnot together. Like they're kind of one and the same. Like your chest kind of is affected by your arms. And once you get about to the part where the thing splits up here, you're going to want to curve back up. And normally I would make them a bit more like blocky, but I've been following some recent posts that have been showing examples of like pecs and have said like the rounder you make them, the more natural they'll look. Like not like too round like this, but at least don't make them like too blocked, I'd say. Give them some natural curve. And this part obviously is going to be a bit more, not like, yeah, it's going to be a bit more straight jutting in. So there we go. One chest. And now with the other one, you kind of want to reference the spine for where it stops. So the chest stops here. Maybe that was a bit much. I don't have much of a advice for where to stop that to curve it in, but once again, once this part gets here, you want to jut up even more. Well, you want to jut the outer part in and then make this part a bit smoother in reference. Once again, feel free to send memes. Oh, a question first. Sorry, just gonna. Okay, I was hoping to attend some FurCons this year, but COVID has put a big damper on that. You planning to attend any in the future? Um, yeah, I don't know which ones though. That's the problem. It's like I want to, but then I feel like I can't spend so much money going to a con because my parents are gonna be super on me about it. And I know I'm 22, but it's just when you're still at home with them for now and just you don't have your own independent living, you feel like a lot of your financials get monitored by them, even if you are trying to spend independently and whatnot. Um, I would try and go to like the Golden State one, like the one that's like gonna be in Southern California at least next year if that's open. Um, I know that Further Confusion I think got canceled for 2021. I would have loved to go to that one, like as like a first con or something, just to get a feel for a big con life. But I think I should probably start out with like a more medium sized con. I really would want to go to like Midwest or like Anthrocon, something big like that in the future. Like I just want to see what a big con is like and see like the dance comps and all that. But I just feel like with traveling and hotel expenses, it's gonna be hard for me to afford that and have the spare money to afford it. I don't spend much as it is, even with commissions or anything, and so to have parents that are like, "Don't waste money on this, don't waste money on that." It's like I feel a lot of just intensity with that. Just you know, makes me miss going to like volleyball tournaments back in the day because they would spend money for that because at least it was socially normal. Like, yeah, you're playing volleyball and that's a normal thing. You can go and do that, but you know, now that it's like don't really have much volleyball to do either right now. It's like really hard to find any big events to travel to. And it's like I love the traveling part of a con. Like, if it was up to me and money wasn't a problem, I would be going all over the place to cons. Like, I'd love to travel. Love. But besides that, it's just kind of a tricky situation for me and just personal relations. It's not like I have parents that are like, it's your money, do what you want. It's like they're super on me about like work or whatnot, just like making sure you save up to move out. And it's like I want to, but it's like I want to still have fun. Okay, that's why I was like having trouble. Okay, is this dang thing here? Okay, all right, that's about good enough for the arms. Uh, Hold on, I'm just gonna mute something for a second and turn off the camera for a sec. All right, there we go. Just had to get that set up. Yeah, sorry about that. I might have to end this in a few minutes. Maybe I can come back at a later hour. Like, it's like I've been trying to get my streaming in, but oh god, it's like I'm only an hour and 45 into my drawing, and I can only get this conjured up. Yeah, it's like they'll stay on my financials even after I leave. Yeah. No, I definitely could see that. It's just frustrating because it's like, yeah, they'll have their opinions with that, but it's like what when they have access to your account, it's like you always fear that they're gonna block your stuff even when you are on your own and you're your own adult. It's just like I want to go to these events and do my thing and go on my own. I'm a grown adult. It's like they're just super on me about like being with strangers and shit like that. But it's like, you know, it's like make local friends. And it's just like I have, I just don't match. I don't click with them, and then I do stuff with them. And it's just like, oh, it's good for the time being, but not really all that satisfying. All right, here we go. I'm gonna finish this. Like, I'm gonna finish this character up, and then I will be done with this stream, and I might come back later afterwards. Really depends. I don't have much else planned today. Sorry. So I yeah, did not really come into this thinking I'm gonna put on this giant stream. I was hoping you guys would send me memes, but there's only like a couple of you, so I totally get like not wanting to do that and just you know kind of more of an intimate stream I'd say today. Normally I would love to like do a VN or whatnot, but this is my biggest priority right now is to finish this before tomorrow because I am doing something with family on Saturday and I'm gonna be gone all day. But after that, I pretty much want to spend the following week just having people giving me script revisions and advice to like, you know, tell me where I should be changing the story direction or whatnot. Because some things are a bit, some things are a bit iffy right now with the story and just like not much establishment or whatnot. Like that's some advice I've gotten before. Not much of a hook, things like that, where I'm like, I need to figure out where I can sprinkle those in, not like do a whole overhaul. It's more of just those revisions. But yeah, it's just making sure things are a bit more flowing. All right, erase that. And definitely gonna shrink that head, because Jesus, that head is big. So once I get this head done, which will just take me like a couple minutes, I'll explain uh, how the perspective thing will work and just show that for one character and then be done. So sorry if this wasn't much of a special preview. I am going to try and reveal more later on, but since I am a slow drawer, I didn't really think I was going to get like an extreme amount done today. Or well, not today, geez. I was going to get this done today, but within this like hour. Sometimes I have a bit better of a connection, I would say, with what I'm drawing. Other times I just get kind of stuck like this and just procrastinate while drawing. It's like I'm still drawing, but at the same time, it's like kind of slow. All right, so the head. Here we go. So there's kind of a roundness to the German Shepherd's like top of the head. I need to like reference the heads like again, like it's not fully around like on a straight away, but there's some of it. It's like enough to like give it some defining like traits like this. All right. German Shepherds have some really distinct ears, so yeah, jet them out. They're almost kind of like jackal ears in a sense where they just poke out like this a lot. Here we go. Now for the hair. This is gonna be rough hair. Like you know, it's kind of gonna be the gist of what it's gonna look like, but at the same time, you can have freedom to just give them some extra details to give it some texture. Okay, there we go. That got the ears. Should have drawn the eyes a bit earlier. I'm going to reference Marcus's head here for a bit. Yeah, you're going to kind of have the wolf, like, jutting out here, the floof. And then it comes back in. It's not too wide like some characters, like a fox or whatnot, like other canines, but yes, foxes are canines. I did not know that until like a year or two ago. It was like mind blowing to me. Okay, so there's that. These are the muzzle references. Since it's more of a straight-on perspective, I don't have to worry too much about like the box referencing for it. But I should probably skinny this a little bit, not too much, not like the Arctic fox or anything. But since he's got a bigger head in general, it's not gonna be a big deal. So note that even though I kind of did have critiques about Zillion's lightning round streams, I do think he has some great advice in that you guys should definitely check him out. I'd say like he's got really great advice on like how to like draw characters or just species or whatnot. Or, nah, didn't mean to say characters, but yeah, how to draw species and whatnot. He has one on protogens. I haven't watched that because I'm not a protogen person yet. Unless somebody maybe asked me to draw a protogen for him like a commission, but once again, not open for commissions. But he has one on hyenas that really helped me get the ball rolling. It helped me click hyenas because hyenas were like my weakness back in the day. So, shoot, this needs a little more. Needs a little more doggo look to it. Ah, yeah. So for this, it's like you kind of got the circular look. A lot of canines have this where it's like circular, back in. So it jets back in. And then we're just going to nose. The line, the center line is off because the line here is off from the actual center. So if anybody was curious. So just go to that. Okay, so you want to make sure your mouth kind of goes up more upward, I'd say. Alright, just gonna erase that line. Unnecessary line. Erase that one. And then back in it goes because it's pretty straight on, but this part's got a bit I need to kind of correct here. This part kind of has it coming down. There we go. That's like close enough. All right, so now that I got that, so he's gonna be looking more. Gotta give him more of that competitive look. Okay, there we go. Oh shoot, I forgot to do the other arm. But fortunately, since I did that other arm earlier, which I kind of need to readjust a tad. Alright, time to do this arm, or hand, whatever it's called. We're going to paste it. Transform, oh, that's text. Transform, and then I could put this a little more inward, actually. And now I'm going to erase some things. Ah, got something in my eye again, jeez. Been a terrible week for things in my eyes. No, that's not what I meant to do. Didn't mean to make text. Alright, so this is going to be a bit more. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to change the hands. Delete. And yeah, it's going to be more downward. Okay. Sometimes you kind of realize and you're like, oh, shoot. As long as you're learning. Getting pretty close to 4 o'clock, but I'm just going to show you how to do the perspective thing, because then I can just readjust the arms when I'm there. But okay, so what I do for the perspective is just going to be really simple. So I got 2 minutes. Save. Come on. There we go. So here we go. What I'm going to do is transform and put the character, put his center right on the cross here, and then just keep the aspect ratio and just shrink him down. And I can probably make him a twinge taller and wider. And just a lot of things in general. Oh, I can see why. Okay. it's because I made his like cross hash like the same length as what his height should be. Oh boy. So in terms of height, he should be about the same as the crosshash. I think I may have made a mistake earlier with like the length, so may have to adjust that, but you guys get the gist of it at least. So apologies that this isn't perfect on stream, but that's about what I'm gonna go for. So I'm gonna settle with this. I'm gonna settle with this for now, and this is kind of like what you're going for, like one character here, another there. And then you got the character here trying to block, and then the character back here doing their thing. But then again, you can always use perspective tools on multiple layers to adjust any last minute changes before you get onto the actual drawing. So yeah, that is all I have for this stream. I apologize for making things kind of quick, but thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, take care, guys.